Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of CWN Recap. Impact Wrestling Sacrifice 2021 took place live last night, 8 o'clock p.m. on Fight, as well as Impact Plus. Pretty good show. It didn't go the 3.5 hours I thought it would, but it came pretty damn close there. But it was a good show overall. I can't say it was the greatest. I just, for whatever reason, it lacked something last night, and I don't know if it was just me being tired or the fact is I knew the main event was going to play into a bigger picture come April, but the fact is it was still a good pay-per-view. It's a lot of action, a lot of superstars, so to speak, on this card. And I'll go through it right now, and then I'll get to my match of the night as well as my wrestler of the night, as always, and we'll kind of go from there. Commentary last night, Matt Striker, D'Lo Brown, officially. Match number 1 of the night, Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus with Rosemary, taking on Reno Scum, which was Adam Thornstowe, as well as Lester the Legend. Final moments of the match, Rosemary had missed outside on Luster. Almost called him Luther, but Luster. So he's outside of the ring, and basically, it's a perfect tag team match going back and forth, and then Rosemary gets involved, missed Luster. As this is taking place, Taurus is in the ring, hits the Taurus driver on Thornstowe, hits the 3 count, and we have winners with Decay, Crazy Steve, and Black Taurus going over first. And it was a pretty good opener match. Obviously being Canadian, it's a little bit of bias there, but I'm still impressed, I got to say, by Black Taurus. I'm loving basically, what's going on there with Decay. The fact that they brought them back, the fact that they seem like a strong stable once again. I could easily see tag team championships eventually with these guys, just a matter of time. If not, I can easily see Black Taurus, basically going and turning against Crazy Steve. And then who do we see Rosemary align herself with? So that'd be interesting as well. But like I said, Decay with the opening win here. Match number 2 of the night, Tennille Dashwood, Caleb with a K, taking on Havoc and Nevaeh. As I had said in the predictions show, not really kind of an intergender mixed tag team match, because Caleb with a K kind of looks small compared to Havoc and Nevaeh. Final moments of the match, had Nevaeh had a roll-up. Tennille end up distracting the ref. Havoc ties up the ref. Caleb pushes Tennille over Nevaeh and gets the 3 count. And like I said, Nevaeh continues to lose. There was no really post-match, so you could see she was frustrated, but nothing kind of angle-wise, like her storming up the ramp or just needing to be on her own last night, so to speak. I see it playing out this coming Tuesday as far as Impact on Fight Network here in Canada goes, but again, Tennille's looking strong. Caleb with a K is looking strong. It's not the last we see of Tennille last night, so I'll get into that momentarily here, but a strong showing, a basic, back and forth tag team match, strong points, obviously Caleb and Tennille with the, that cell phone doing the selfie gimmick while the match is taking place, everything else. But I'm interested to see where they're going to go with Tennille from here, and as well, like I said, Havoc and Nevaeh. So I think I'm 2 for 2. I think I called Decay. As well as I believe I called Tennille because of the singles push. I've got to go back and start keeping track of my predictions. We're only in the month of March, so I can play tidy up and put it on the website there. So, but anyways, from there we go into backstage segment. Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards. Edwards basically wishing Rich Swann luck, and Swann doing some preparation for his big main event match coming up. Match number 3 of the night, Violent by Design, which is Diener and Joe Doring with Eric Young taking on James Storm and Chris Sabin with Jake Something. So we didn't see any turns. Well, actually, no, I can't say that. We didn't see any turns as far as the match itself, the competitors in the match went. But final moments here, I realized, of all things, that I've seen Diener take on Chris Sabin, take on Sean Spears in a triple threat match 15 years ago this month. So as I'm watching Cody Diener and Chris Sabin in the ring together, 15 years ago, so 2006, up in Collingwood, Ontario, I got to see them at an independent show, and like I said, Sean Spears was part of that as well. So kind of cool there, just the fact is that I have kind of a good memory, I guess. I am old, but I still have a kind of a good memory. But yeah, kind of coincidence that 15 years ago this month, I get to see Sabin and Diener in the same ring. But anyways, long story short, Rhino hits the ring. Yes, Rhino hits the ring. Spears Sabin. Diener gets the pin, and Violent by Design celebrates. So we see the closing segment, so to speak, of that match with the four of them. So Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino all together with regards to, winning that match. Rhino is now a part of Violent by Design, apparently, according to social media anyways. And speaking of social media, I'm going to see if I can do this quickly. I had something else brought up, and I'll go back to it at the end of the show here, just because it is relevant. But the comments that were made this morning, 3 hours ago, this was by Heath. He goes, waking up this morning and getting on here to see this. He goes, WTF is this? And then he goes, call me Rhino. So it's basically a picture. Like I said, the end of the match there, Joe Doring standing alongside Cody Diener, Eric Young, and then Rhino and a pose there. So that was Heath commenting on kind of WTF is going on there. So I thought that was interesting. Obviously, it'll play out this coming Tuesday, so we'll have to tune in then. Then we go backstage. It is Gia Miller as well as Brian Myers. So Gia Miller is doing backstage duties tonight. Match number 4 of the night, hold harmless match. Eddie Edwards taking on Brian Myers. Highlights include a superplex into a pile of chairs into the middle of the ring, and then a backpack stunner through a table onto the outside. So obviously your typical hardcore match. I mean, Eddie Edwards is known for that. He's good at it. He's skilled. Brian Myers, obviously, it's interesting to see him be in this gimmick, considering the fact that when he was, WWE, he was mostly in tag team matches, as well as just kind of clean matches, so to speak. So to see him with the weapons, everything else is kind of unique, but it was a good hard hitting match. Final moments of the match, Cardona comes out, interferes to take out Hernandez, who was ringside. Edwards grabs Myers' concealed weapon, so that square package, so to speak, loads it into his knee, and then hits the Boston knee party on Myers for the 3 count there. So that was surprising, because I know I'd called Brian Myers to win in this one, but Eddie Edwards is the winner. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where they go from here. Match number 5 in the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship match, Fire and Flava, which is Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz taking on Jordan Grace and Jazz. Final moments of the match, Grace with a Vader Bomb on Hogan, broken up by a frog splash by Steelz, which is kind of cool. So basically, Kiera Hogan's down. Jordan Grace hits the corner Vader Bomb, so to speak. From there, Tasha Steelz is climbing to the top turnbuckle, and as the referee's counting, the pin, Tasha Steelz comes off and hits a frog splash onto the back of Jordan Grace. So it was kind of a cool moment there. Then followed up by a double team in the corner on Grace, 2 count, double team on Hogan by the faces, 2 count, STF by Jazz. Steelz comes up and she ends up breaking it up. Then we get a back and forth. The heels get the advantage in a double team on Grace, and then Fisherman Buster by Kiera Hogan on Jordan Grace for the 3 counts. So Kiera Hogan looked very strong. Fire and Flavor looked very strong as a tag team. But Kiera Hogan, basically solid ending of the match against Jordan Grace. Strong showing by Fire and Flavor to retain. I'm glad. I'm happy. I had said my predictions. I know Jordan Grace and Jazz, wins Jazz going to get a championship, but they are doing the opposite of what the WWE did when they came out with the titles, and they're making these tag team champions look strong. So props to them. Props for Fire and Flavor keeping the titles, and I'm a fan of them, so I continue to see what's going to go on with them and who's going to face them next. That's going to be the interesting thing, because they're pretty much kicking everybody's butts. Backstage, we go Gia Miller as well as Moose. Moose is kind of in a zone, so to speak. Not really much of an interview, but you can see the mentality of Moose prepping for the main event match there. Next match number 6, Impact X Division Championship match. TJP taking on Ace Austin with Madman Fulton in his corner. Final moments of the match, fold attempt by Austin. TJP collapses, playing a little bit of Eddie Guerrero there. Stryker informs us that the title can change hands if TJP can't continue, and the referee says that's enough. Austin goes for a submission, but TJP locks in a knee bar. Slugfest back and forth. Knee bar locked in again. TJP with a suplex, and then he goes up to the top. Looks like a Mamba splash attempt, but Ace pulls the referee in front of him. Then he nails TJP with, I would call it a rolling kick, because that's what the announcers called. But it looked kind of like a reverse crescent kick with a spin. And, props to Ace Austin for being able to the agility, the athletic ability of him there. Anyway, he hits this rolling kick. TJP still perched on the top rope. Austin then goes for more offense, but TJP blocks back and forth. Austin stuns TJP, and then Austin hits the running fold 3 count. The fold looked absolutely amazing last night. You kind of accordioned him up to get the pin, and it was a strong pin. And then we get a new X Division champion. So post-match, Austin gloats, celebrates, and then Fulton puts him up on his shoulders, kind of piggybacking him, so to speak, up on top of his shoulders there. And then they're running around the ring doing laps, so to speak, just celebrating. But Ace Austin being Ace Austin. So it's, to me, I'm loving it. A huge fan of Ace Austin. Every time I watch him, he's got that charisma. He's definitely got the talent, and I'm thinking back when I'm watching this, I'm thinking, how many of these guys do we know nowadays that were X Division champions? That was their starting point, so to speak. Samoa Joe, Chris Sabin, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, all those guys in the mix. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see where Austin, I almost said Austin Aries, but Ace Austin is 5 to 10 years from now. Obviously, I think he's world championship material, just a matter of time. Backstage, we go Swingers Palace featuring Alicia Edwards as well as Tennille Dashwood. The music, the gimmick, Johnny Swinger being there is just it's I'm gonna miss it when it goes away. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's got substance to it. You know what I mean? And it's just it's kind of an old school 80s mentality. And I think at one point, Johnny Swinger referred to himself as Magnum TA, which was kind of comical there. But anyways, Alicia Edwards, Tennille Dashwood was the main focus of this. I'll get into that just momentarily here. Match number 7 in that Impact Knockouts Championship match. Deonna Purrazzo taking on ODB. Kimber and Susan get booted from ringside mid-match, so they were causing too much interference. They got the boot. Final moments, though. ODB goes for the Dirty Dozen, blocked by Purrazzo. ODB goes for the flying clothesline. She ends up missing. Purrazzo locks in the armbar. I know there's a name for it, followed by the Venus de Milo, and then ODB taps. So the Venus de Milo is both arms trapped. ODB had no choice but to tap. She sold it like a superstar. And still, obviously, Knockouts Women Champion Deonna Purrazzo. She's celebrating post-match, her style, Purrazzo style, just I'm the champ, that's it. And it'll be interesting to see, because apparently rumor has it she's looking at the AEW women. She's got, women lined up as far as the AEW roster goes that she'd like to face. And to me, I'd love to see Hikaru Shida taking on Deonna Purrazzo, or Serena Deeb taking on Deonna Purrazzo, or Thunder Rosa, people like that. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. And obviously with the Forbidden Door knocked down, there was another post that I just kind of reminded on Twitter, and I think it was by Tasha Steeles, and she goes, with the Forbidden Door being knocked down, does this mean they can face off against people over there in Stardom, which I think would be cool. Stardom obviously affiliated with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so anything is possible. So it's gonna be a hype summer, I tell you that much. Backstage, we go Scott D'Amore, Alicia Edwards, and Tennille Dashwood. D'Amore announces a 12 knockout tag team match for this coming Tuesday. And then states to Tennille, he goes, as you're the social media, the influencer, so to speak, you're going to have to check out impactwrestling.com to find out who's in this match. So that's the way that one ended there. Match number 8 of the night, semi-main event. Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson taking on Finn Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson. Final moments of the match, Juice gets the hot tag, huge offense on Anderson. Uranagi on Anderson 2 count, running cannonball attempt by Juice, but he ends up missing. Missing. Gallows tagged in. He's arrogant, though, and can't get much done, so he ends up tagging Anderson back in. They hit the backdrop, neckbreaker combo on Juice. Finlay breaks up the pin and then gets tossed from the ring. Your brothers take a long time setting up for the Magic Killer. Finlay back in to break up the attempt. Super kick by Gallows. Finlay is back outside. Huge haymaker by Juice. Gallows is now knocked outside. Anderson spinebuster on Juice. 2 count. Anderson is frustrated. He's banging the mat. He's cursing under his breath. Anderson misses the gun stun. Juice backslide at 2 count. Juice hits another haymaker, this time on Anderson, though. Hits a tag to Finlay. They hit the demolition finisher on Anderson. So basically, second rope, guy in the backbreaker. Matt Stryker on commentary, and maybe he was just having a moment. Matt Stryker states, Heart Foundation recall there. Are you kidding me? It's not a Heart Foundation move. That was demolition through and through. I just watched it on WrestleMania 4 the other night. Anyways, 2 count. Gallows back in, nailed by Finn Juice, and then sent back out. Doomsday Device on Anderson's Juice with the 3 count, and New. So I was absolutely stunned in this. I was like, holy crap, they put the titles on Finn Juice. And then post-match, Finn Juice is celebrating. Gallows is on the outside just looking stunned. So props to Finn Juice for picking up the Impact World Tag Team Championship. Obviously, Impact Wrestling on Twitter was, putting it over. New Japan Pro Wrestling on Twitter was putting it over. New Japan 1972.com was putting it over today. So very cool to see. And I'm loving, that forbidden door, so to speak, being busted down at this point. It's absolutely amazing. Get ROH involved, and then the NWA when they come back, and just, oh man, I'm excited. Finally, World Championship Unification match. Winner to face AEW World Champion Kenny Omega at Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2021. Rich Swann, Impact World Champion, taking on Moose, who's the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Basically, it was a power versus speed match. So Moose's power versus Rich Swann's speed. Swann ends up putting him into the post a couple times over in the beginning there. So Moose isn't looking the strongest. End of the match, final moments in the match. So Moose grabbed a chair from underneath the ring, set it up in the corner between the buckles. Hebner blocks the chair from coming into play, but the chair still remains set up. That's going to play into the end of the match here. Moose heavy on the attack on Swann's hair during the match as well. So any chance that Moose had gotten, he was basically pulling at the hair, ripping at the hair. There was one moment where they're outside and Rich Swann's sitting down. And Moose takes Rich Swann's hair, puts it through the guardrail, and just starts pulling it. And man, and Swann sold it. It sounded like he was in a horror movie there. But Moose, going, kind of with a bad tactics, so to speak, trying to become the winner here. Where are we here? Final moments. Moose had a follow-away moonsault slam off the top rope for a 2 count. It's like a Spanish fly, but it basically Moose does a flip in the midair as well. But the announcers called it a follow-away moonsault slam officially. But it's a cool move, knowing how big Moose is and then how agile obviously Rich Swann is. Moose goes for running shoulder tackles in the corners. He misses and eventually nails the chair in the corner. So he basically runs, set up. It reminds me, and this is I'm gonna speak my age right now. It reminds me of the Karate Kid Part 2, and basically it's Mr. Miyagi and Sensei for the Cobra Kai there, and I'm forgetting his name, but it's the beginning of Karate Kid 2, and Miyagi's just standing there in front of the car window, and the next thing you know, he goes to punch. Miyagi moves. It ends up going through the window. Miyagi's back. He does the same thing, goes to punch, and I just punched my microphone. Live, well, not live, but anyways, that's your premiere folly right there. Anyways, a long story short, Miyagi moves again, and basically he ends up, wrecking his other hand. And then Miyagi's like, no mercy, and then he goes honk, and that's a Karate Kid reference right there. But anyways, it was kind of the same thing. It was like Rich Swann set up in the corner, Moose is coming, and then next thing you know, it's like, oop, miss. And then he does it basically 3 times over until the fact he hits that chair. Moose goes for a final tackle, so another one. At this point, though, there's no chair to hit. Swann rolls him up and becomes the new unified champion. And then post-match, Moose is in the ring stunned. Swann poses with both belts on the entrance ramp, and that's how the show ends. So, guys, Rich Swann, Kenny Omega, historic title versus title match, Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2021, Saturday, April 24th, 2021, live on pay-per-view. So that's, I'm excited for it. If you listen to the prediction show, you would have heard me talk with regards to, and this microphone is, there we go. Now it's centered. A little bit of OCD. I'm excited, and Swann versus Omega, the 2 styles are going to be great. And like I said, April 24th, another Saturday pay-per-view, and I think this one's going to sell a lot of buy rates there, especially being title versus title. So as I was talking about earlier, a couple things else I wanted to mention as well with regards to Twitter. So just about 10 after 11 last night, Moose had posted on Twitter, "Tonight I proved that I'm undoubtedly the best big man in professional wrestling and one of the best wrestlers in the world. I came short of becoming the undisputed champion. We'll take time off to reevaluate the past, rebuild, refocus, rebrand, and then think about the future." So statement by Moose there last night. So reading that statement, I gotta say this. I'm gonna say Moose comes back as a face. Even if it's maybe he's there's too much going through my mind right now. I just immediately started thinking Moose comes back as a face ends up being in the corner of Rich Swann and helps Rich Swann win the AEW World Championship at Rebellion. That would be a cool moment. Whether or not it's going to happen, I don't know. But that would be a cool moment to see Moose on the same side as Rich Swann, basically defending Impact Wrestling. That would be cool. But any way you look at it, I think Moose comes back as a face and does one more babyface run, and then maybe that's it for him. I know he's up there in age. He's it can't be easy on the body. He's probably, I shouldn't say probably, he is in the best shape of his life that I've ever seen. So it's going to be interesting to see where Moose goes from here after making that statement as far as Twitter goes. And as Scott D'Amore reported with regards to ImpactWrestling.com, a huge 12 knockout tags set for Impact coming up this Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Fight Network as well as Twitch. So we got Susan, Tennille Dashwood with Caleb with a K. We got Fire and Flava, Deonna Purrazzo, and Kimberly on one side. And then on the other side there, we got Alicia Edwards, we got Havoc and Nevaeh, ODB, Jordan Grace, and Jazz on the other side there. So that is set up for this coming Tuesday night as far as Impact Wrestling goes. So guys, as I do every single recap show, I always do my match of the night as well as my wrestler of the night. So match of the night is this: Good Brothers versus FinJuice. It was almost a tie between them and Ace Austin and TJP, but with FinJuice picking up the win. I know Ace Austin picked up the win, but this is one of those things I never thought I'd see. FinJuice, new Impact World Tag Team Champions. So that was my match of the night there with the Good Brothers. And it was interesting too, because the fact is, towards the end of the match, the Good Brothers just look cocky and arrogant. They look like, they're in the ring with guys who aren't up to par with them. And FinJuice looked really strong at the end. And Doomsday Device on Carl Anderson, tribute to the Road Warriors, and obviously the Demolition. I'm a huge Demolition mark. The fact is, FinJuice, Good Brothers match of the night there. Wrestler of the night, you can't really argue this. Rich Swann, he's the unified world champion now going into a match with Kenny Omega at Rebellion. So how do you argue that being the wrestler of the night there? So an easy Rich Swann win for wrestler of the night there. Maybe I'll start posting these on, I almost said Facebook, but CWNonline.ca as far as my match of the nights as well as my wrestler of the nights. Because if you don't get to see the matches, you don't get to see the event, at least you'll know what I thought was something to look forward to or something to watch out for as far as the pay-per-view went. So maybe I'll start doing that as well on top of my predictions to see how well I'm doing this year. But guys, that is it for another episode of CWN Recap Impact Wrestling Sacrifice 2021. As always, check me out at Chris Maloney CWN. If you've watched the premiere, thank you very much. If you've listened on audio, thank you very much as well. And like I said, check me out at Chris Maloney CWN as far as social media goes. We will be back. I will be back this coming Wednesday, March 17th, otherwise known as St. Paddy's Day. And I am excited for it. You're going to see the whole setup decked out in green, St. Paddy's Day stuff all over the place. You'll see the theme music being a little bit different, the graphics being a little bit different, but it's I'm Irish and I'm proud of it. And I can't wait to celebrate St. Paddy's Day with you guys for episode number 31 of CWN Weekly. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, and we'll see everybody on St. Paddy's Day, and take care.